Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we are live on a Thursday, 11:29 a.m., October 29th, and we are at the end of the month. Elections in like 20 minutes. Stock market's doing crazy backflips yesterday. Crypto market's on fire. So, yeah, I'll get over to the main screen in a second. I'll break down what that means. Crypto market's on fire. So clearly I'm in risk off mode. You guys know my rhetoric. So maybe it's not the alts. Actually, it's definitely not the alts. Friends getting obliterated. Today's episode is sponsored by Change Angel, non-custodial swap exchange. Stop using exchanges. If you're going to use an exchange, you use Blocknet, StakeNet, what is it? Atomic Dex from Komodo. The Cred's coming out with the Dex. And these are the types of platforms to use. There's no reason to use a centralized exchange, or at least get your feet wet. And then Change Angel does the trick. Change Angel. That's what I'm talking about. Elections, financials, and crypto, how to break it all down, because that's what we try and do. We're here to talk shop. We're here to answer questions. We're here to ask questions. We're here to make better decisions with things that are very meaningful for us and our families. We're here to do it right instead of fucking up. Because that's what we don't want to do. Let's pop it over to the main screen and see who's in the stream. Dave's in the house. Always a pleasure. DigiGuy, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Noah gives some good news on DigiByte. So, before I say hello to everyone else, DigiByte, you know my stance on DigiByte. I love my DigiByte. I'm more than excited for the future of DigiByte. But DigiByte does not fit into the global financial macro narrative. Bitcoin does, and it's not because we want Bitcoin to. It is what it is. We must invest based on what is, and we can speculate on what we hope to be, but we cannot take risk and take the vast majority of our value. We cannot spread too thin, cannot go all in on speculation, because that's how you're going to destroy your portfolio. Protect your gains, people. That's my man. DigiByte, DigiLite, yes. Stuff, my man in the house. What's up with Elon Musk, Starlink? Man, Elon and Tesla is probably the biggest corporate story in the last 100 years. Everything about the company is just breathtaking, and just I cannot. I can't have bigger, more exciting, passionate words about what he built and what he's doing with the factories he's building around the world. He wins. He needs to win. He needs to win for humanity. And guess what also needs to happen? This stock needs to get destroyed. Because this is an abomination, and everything about the still. I mean, look, it already broke to the downside. We got lower highs, lower highs. Bear in mind, we do still have a pinch. So we could redraw this, unfortunately. And, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So we take the support. I mean, I guess. I mean, that clearly just shot up at the green. Um, yeah, I mean, it was still pinching because they're higher lows, and that's the whole point. So you can draw your trend lines in a couple of different ways, but you got lower highs and higher lows, which is a triangle or symmetric triangle pinch formation. So when this breaks, so the symmetric triangle does not say it's going to break to the upside or to the downside. And I would argue this is a bearish symmetric triangle formation because the first leg is down. It's not like the first leg is up. Different pattern, has a certain feel to it. The equities market feels just, it's like garbage. It's a house of cards. There's something morally, that's the thing. There's something morally wrong with what they did. They did something wrong. And that's the problem. And they've turned a stock that's supposed to be representative of a once in a century company into a casino. And there's something wrong with that. And it should be upsetting. And if it isn't, it's just not being processed the way it should be. Because this stock should be $100 on this scale, because this is a post 5-to-1 split. So that right now you realize, compared to the beginning of the year, this thing's at $2,000 a share. That's 5-to-1. This is ridiculous. This should be at $500. I was in at 280. I sold at like 580. and this should be at around $500 because it doesn't have the earnings, and there's no fundamentals associated with this price. There's no fundamentals in the world that could justify a pre-split $2,000 share price. Absolutely ridiculous, disgusting, disgusting. Barry, my man, hello, what's up? Sam's in the house, always a pleasure. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is ripping to the upside right now. This is good to see. Let's zoom out a little bit. So I like this trend. This is what I see. Clearly, there's aberrations, deviations to the downside. But basically, if you ignore, I mean, even if you don't ignore the peaks, it's higher lows. But if you draw on this trend because you got some peaks over here, we got some dips over here, and right here. Um, I like this as support, and that's what I'm looking at as support, and it's held as support, more or less. And we're clearly halfway through the vertical part of the width of the triangle, so to speak. So where are we? We're on 8 days, 12 hours remaining for the amount of bars required for the completion of this entire triangle. And that's where we are, man. I'm just excited. This is why am I really excited? Because the DXY broke out today, and it's ripping. It is rip roaring. Incredible. Let's take a look on. Oh, actually, here the daily. Did it broke out today? I mean, it started kind of yesterday where it wicked to the upside through the trend, but it literally broke out today. Um, and this is a big breakout from the beginning of the year, March 20th. So they printed, pushed down the price of the currency, and I mean this breakout eerily feels like Brent and Raoul's dollar bull theory, because the conceptually it's a kind of inevitable that dollar demand will push the dollar up as systemic instability uh, uh, remains in existing and pervasive and prevalent in other countries. They're printing in other countries, and they're constantly dumping that money to purchase dollars on the open market. And that's exactly why this is kind of inevitable. And that's what they're talking about, dollar bull theory, milkshake theory, or whatever you want to call it. And what's most fascinating is this is a big breakout, and Bitcoin's ripping to the upside a couple hundred points, 440 points, give or take. Absolutely incredible. Bitcoin up, dollar up. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, there's something about this. So what I've noticed, like September came around, September 2nd, give or take, and I smelled it. I saw the difference in the 24-hour chart on CoinGecko, the 24-hour list sorted. Smelled it. It was different. This is different. There's something different going on. And if you look at the markets, it was down like 900 points yesterday and today. This is the most pathetic headline. Sorry, I'm digressing for a second. It's no. GDP is not up 33%. Who gives a crap about Q over Q, quarter over quarter? That's like, yeah, I'm down $1 million, but I made $100,000 yesterday. Yeah, I'm down 900 grand. So the GDP compared to last year is tanked. Tanked. So this is the most misleading, not factually, not meaningfully representative metric that they can. It's just misleading in all regards. Everything about this economy right now is misleading. This GDP Q over Q. The only thing, and clearly the equities market, but the equities market finally had a correction yesterday. So what are we seeing? We're seeing equities finally showing some signs of rationality, where the markets are supposed to reflect how deep and in dire straits the economy really is, and the amount of unemployment claims and people just not paying their bills. People just not paying their bills. That's all I hear. A lot of news stories about people not paying school debts, and clearly a lot of people not paying rent if you're out of work. So it's just a hot mess. It's just really, really hot mess. And what am I seeing? What's most interesting is that I'm seeing disparity. I'm seeing the wealthy people have so much money. And I mean, technically, I kind of fit into that camp more or less because I'm trying to do some housework. And every contractor I talk to, they have no time. They're swamped until January. I can't get a bathroom done. I can't get yard work done. I can't get a garage done. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I have no one to do work. It's all like 2 months out. These people are booked. That's all they're saying. So where are all these people getting money? I know where I'm getting money. I'm an engineer. I do software. I write Android. So I know where mine comes from, but I guess there's a lot of professionals out there that make a lot of money and they're doing all this work, but are they making that much more money? So how do we account for so much more contracting, so much more construction? How do we account for that? I don't really know. And this is a fascinating thing that you will have great 2020 hindsight of over the over the next couple of years about what really happened with the economy and what played out. We'll only know 2020 hindsight. Dave says, can a decoupling happen if dollar makes significant moves to the upside? Well, Raul says that dollar, gold, Bitcoin. That's what he says. So there's a correlation right now. That's what's really fascinating. There's a correlation right now between the dollar and Bitcoin. How about them apples? So what happens if the dollar goes to where are we? Well, dollar goes to like 103, 104 that people are talking about, like a big rip to the upside, bigger than March, massive rip, and Bitcoin breaks out 15,000, 16,000, 17,000. What kind of and that's the whole thing. These markets, these charts tell a story. And it's not like the charts are really supposed to tell you what's going to happen next. But what's fascinating is what happens next and what's shown in the charts is a story. And I think that's the most meaningful thing. I don't really look to the charts to see what's going to happen next. I have no idea whether this damn chart in front of me, in front of us right now, is going to break to the upside or the downside. But what fascinates me is the story, these higher highs. And this multi-year, this goes back to 2019, June 10th, 2019, this resistance right here. And bam, over a year later, it proves to be a resistance price. That's fascinating from a psychological perspective. As a sailor would say, that energy across the year is manifesting itself at this price point. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating, the story that these charts tell us. Um, yeah, I'm looking for this to get crushed at some point. I want to own. I've allocated some capital to cash in preparation for a stock market correction. This is something I really, really want to get a chance to own down to like if it goes down to the upper ones, 180s, 175, 175. But this is like 500. 550, 580, and pre-split level, yeah, that's a number that I'd be interested in. Let's take a look at curve for a second. Let's take a look at Brent. Let's pull up these charts. Load them up, baby. Load them up. So curve's getting hit a little bit. 345 was up at the fours, up at the fives. It peaked at 5. So these two orange lines are quite significant. They were previous trends. Um, this was a support, the first one, and this was also both were supports for periods of time. But I like the top orange one because it was the exit from the falling wedge, and the bottom one was the support in this falling wedge. And then we have a descending channel that we broke to the upside. So two bullish trend formation breaks so what's interesting is, look, this is a bullish trend formation break that had bearish price action, and this is a bullish trend formation break that's now really putting in new highs. There's not a firm bottom set yet, albeit we seem to be bouncing off the 200 EMA on the 1 hour. I have noticed that. One bounce here, and we broke down, but it held a support, and it looks like we're riding it right now. So what I'm trying to make point of is that a bearish price action isn't necessarily bearish. I think there's meaningful bullish overtones to this price action, this bullish break from a falling wedge, this bullish break from a descending channel, this piercing of previous resistances, this holding of support twice on the 200 EMA of the 1 hour. Let's pull it out to the 4 hour. Obviously, that price action back there gets horrible. So notice what we have here. We have if we put in a higher low and then a higher high, this would be great to see. Check this out. I mean, literally just bloop, bloop, bloop. So that means we'd have a higher high, and a higher low, and there you go, bit of a channel formation. But we still have to get through the 200 EMA in the 4 hour. Do we have a 200 EMA in the daily? No, we have a 200 EMA in the 4 hour though. Not enough data points for the daily. But that'd be a nice break. That'd be a nice break. Look at that. Look at that gorgeous chart. Let's look at Ren. Ren's getting hammered. Oh God, 200. We broke. Oh, that's what I was hoping would hold. Oh, all right. Watching big numbers evaporate. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why even Ren you can't speculate. You know, you buy $1,000 worth of Ren, you're getting creamed. You buy, whatever quantity you buy, price action is getting obliterated. So I am currently not focusing at all on the price, other than Bitcoin, because I'm expecting extreme further downside action. This is horrible. Break to the downside, breaking the 200 EMA on the daily. This is going to that red line right there. This is going to that most previous support price range. Price range. This is gonna go another 8.8% to the downside. And if it breaks through that, you're in price discovery. You've broken all the meaningful supports. I mean, I guess you could do stuff like this. You could probably get a little bit of support right around there. And then you're going way down. You're going to go down to here. And then you're going to go bloop, 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 bloop. Oh, God, I don't want it to break this red line. I mean, these are serious numbers down. This 66.4, this bottom orange line is, 75% loss from here. I mean, this is almost over 50%. It would be brutal. So this is stuff to keep an eye on right here. But what do I care? What I care about is this. I care about the yield. I want to lock in my speculative position to produce yield. Let's take a look. Oh, let me go over here. Bloop, 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 and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. A little behind the scenes action for node holders. Selected. There you go. So I have these three dark nodes. So this has about 0.06 Bitcoin, 0.07, 0.08. Yeah, it's I have about 0.08 Bitcoin per dark node. And so that's 0.24. That's pretty cool. I have a fifth of almost a third, 0.28. That's pretty cool. That's almost 0.3. That's 0.28, 0.3 Bitcoin, give or take. That's pretty cool for three nodes since mainnet. Exciting. That's what I love to see. That's called yield, boys and girls. So check this out. Let's go back here. We go to that account. We go over to Curve. Let's take a look at Curve real quick. Yeah, Sam says dark node buying opportunity. The question comes to mind, dark node I already have, or Bitcoin. And I think I'm going to stick to Bitcoin. I think that's a personal choice, and there's this hard choice not to want to get back in on another dark node. But I think Bitcoin is where I'm going to hold the funds. I moved a lot of Bitcoin over to Celsius. That's really cool. In fact, I think I have 75% of my Bitcoin on Celsius, a little bit of Bitcoin on BlockFi, and some Bitcoin in cold storage. And man, you do not discount yield. There's no point in keeping it in cash. Cash must be this one of the. So aside from dollar bull theory, where you want to own basically cash and Bitcoin, which is what Raul would explain better than I can ever. I can't. Me personally, even if dollar bull, I can't hold the dollars. I have a bias against dollars. I have a hatred of them, what they stand for ethically and logically and technologically. They are pathetic. So I have a bias against them. I can't hold them. So I'm excited about Curve. We looked at the price action with two meaningful breaks to the upside from downside trend formations and meaningful bullish confluence, even on bearish price action, which is absolutely fascinating. And to top it all off, this thing's producing yield. Apparently, it's producing I don't know how sustainable this is, and I think it's a little offset by the harvest arbitrage exploit the other day. Um, but I have a fair amount that's due to me. I think I own point zero 0.02, point zero 0.01, I don't know. I'd have to calculate it, but I have this amount of VECRV, and then you could go over here. You can see how much VECRV there is. There's a total of 30,430,000. Yeah. Calculator 22,580 divided by 30,433,679 times 100. So no way. I have 0.07. Okay, I have less than a tenth of a percent of the VE curve. 0.07. But there, bear in mind, divided by 100 times what? Let's say they're doing a billion. One. No, what? No. Really? They're doing $1 billion a day, and oh, 700 times. That's my proportional ownership. Um, no, what did I just do there? Point 0.07. So 1 times 0.02% times point times 0.02 point 0.2%. 0.2% times 0.7. Yeah. So my ownership, 0.07% of VE curve. If I currently own 0.07% of VE curve, if curve started doing $1 billion in transactions a day, that's 0.02% per transaction goes to the E-curve holders. So that would yield me $1,400 a day in revenue. Yeah, I like my 0.07% of VE curve proportional ownership. I'm just saying. Um, do you think Wang will retrace the minting fee back to 0.1% after the CPAC? Unknown. Speculative. I think. Here, let's take a look. I don't. But I don't. Here's the deal. Whenever I say here's the deal, I sound like Biden. No, I don't want that. I want to go here. Not now. So 294. I don't know if I think this is just risk off DeFi. I mean, there's $294 million minted. Um, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure they'll be talking about it on the forums and the governance channel chats. Sam, what do you do with your dark node revenue? So I'm keeping it in cold in directly in the node for now. Um, I don't I don't need to take it out because I'm just going to keep it as a separate place that I have some value that's available. I don't immediately need to transfer it to BlockFi or Celsius. I have the vast majority of my Bitcoin in Celsius and a little dabble in BlockFi. I like the Celsius story and weekly distributions, and their app just hits my fancy a little bit better than BlockFi at the moment. Albeit that there's no discredit to BlockFi, and then I have more comfortability with BlockFi and Celsius as compared to like Nexo, and I think Voyager goes through BlockFi ultimately anyway. So it's still in the dark node, Sam. Ken, how will the coming chaos post-election affect assets, gold, silver, Bitcoin, crypto? So dollars breaking higher. Bitcoin is actually breaking higher, correlated with the dollar. The stock market looks there's a lot of pressure on this thing, man. Let's check it out. I mean, this thing was down 900 and something points yesterday, and it's barely up 100 points. at 20 points. There's some serious on. So look how bearish. This is bearish confluence to me. We just had a headline that said we have 33% GDP boom, and we're up 20 points. On the Dow. Yeah, man, that's bearish. That's so bearish. And I don't mean it because people, I don't want to say bearish and I'm excited to be bearish because people are going to lose money. I'm excited to be bearish because it's the right thing. Stocks are an abomination. The equities markets are an abomination. They should not be where they are. It's kind of like that was a Family Guy episode where the dog was kept alive and it's just wrong. It's wrong what they did. It's not morally right. It's artificial, and that's not representative of anything real. And that's just wrong. So I don't agree with it. And it's very uncomfortable to really digest and understand what they did. Right, Ken? So my bias against fiat, I just morally disturbed by what it represents and what they've done. I just don't. That's the bottom line. So Sam says, "Have you checked out Voyager?" I think that was the whole point. I think Voyager does go through Celsius, but Voyager is interesting. But I'm just if you could look into it, you give a Google or figure it out. I'm pretty sure Voyage does their lending and all their a lot of their services and functionality vis-a-vis Celsius. I mean, he's just out ahead. Mashinsky is just out ahead, and the same with BlockFi. They're out ahead. They are the disruptors. They're going to be some serious. They're going to serious. They are indeed seriously disrupting the functionality of banks, and they could potentially do it to even a greater extent in the future because there is so much incentive to store your money with them, and they're literally compared to a bank. There's no reason whatsoever to put your money in a bank at all. They offer nothing. There is no point in putting dollars in the bank. You might as well do a direct deposit to Gemini, get GUSD, and put it in Celsius. You can at least get 11.5% on your money. So if you're this is what I kind of was tempted to write this morning on Twitter. If you're holding dollars and you're trying to like save or accumulate dollars, you're doing something wrong. And I feel comfortable now more than ever saying that because it's just obvious. You're losing 10% of your money as per Chapwood Index metrics at like last year. You have any idea what the number is going to be like next year? You're wasting your money. You worked hard for it. You worked too damn hard for your money to just watch it evaporate into nothing because of what these short-sighted, lack of vision politicians are doing. Pathetic. They protect them. They're protecting the status quo. And, I'm relatively wealthy, and I don't want the status quo. I want change. I'm an engineer. I'm excited for change. And that's why the Tesla story is so incredible. Because that boy took the status quo and told it to go shove it. That's why he's awesome, and that's what he did. He told the status quo, fuck you, you're doing it wrong. And then he did it right. Absolutely incredible what he did, Musk. Yeah, Voyager has high yield returns also. True. Celsius, the numbers are ridiculous. The goal. So Celsius offers 4.5% on Bitcoin over 5 Bitcoin and 6 and change percent on less than 5 and less Bitcoin. So the point being, this is what's important. You shouldn't want higher yield. It's too much risk. What you want to do is get a healthy yield. And if you want to increase your revenue, you don't do it by getting more yield. You need to accumulate more assets to produce more yield. So focus on that as the solution. Instead of trying to turn 6% into 12% into 20%, and then getting into DeFi and then earning 2,000% on Seal.finance or Pickle.finance. No, you're heading in the wrong direction. What you want to do is lock it up at 6% and accumulate work, which means work. Accumulate, and fight for it. And max out your 5 Bitcoin for 6 and change percent at Celsius. Max out your 2.5 Bitcoin for 6 and change percent at BlockFi. And then keep on going. And get angry about it. Get angry and be angry because the whole system is rigged against people to accumulate and people to accumulating enough money so the money works for them. The whole system is designed for economic enslavement and control. And that's why they printed the money. That's why they printed the 6 trillion, or like whatever. Point being, that's why they did what they did. They wanted to protect the system of control. Because if the system breaks down, they don't have any alternatives. But here's the problem, and this is why the politicians are stupid, most of them. There's a lot of smart people in this country that know alternative methods for functioning an econ or for how an economy can function and different ways of operating social structures. There's smart people, there's brilliant people, and these people defend the status quo because they have no damn vision and no damn balls. Pardon my language. Heirloom says Celsius AMA tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. Feel comfortable. And it's taken me a couple months to feel more and more comfortable with Celsius. You should do your own due diligence. If you're allocating value to them, you need to feel comfortable with that value allocation. Shove it to the moon. That's a good one. Just angry, man. I'm happy, but it's just I feel like I should be angrier than I am about things that are going on. It's wrong. It's not fair for someone to work and to not be able to get ahead. This is not the way a financial system should be, and this is not the way the country was when my father was a child between World War II and the 60s. That's not what it was. We were encouraged to save. We were encouraged to have a future, encouraged to retire, encouraged to potentially have money that works for us so our money can make our money instead of us trading time for money. And that's not what we have right now. What we have is politicians defending a system where people cannot get out of debt. They cannot get ahead. They're working 2 jobs. They can't pay their bills. They don't even have a job a lot of the time nowadays. The unemployment rate's through the roof. And the system is on the threshold of collapsing if they don't print another couple of $1 trillion in February or as soon as possible. Anyway, thank you for listening to me, everyone. Heirloom says Voyager interest USDC 8.5, Bitcoin 5.5. I'd stick with Celsius. USDC is 11.5 and 5 and under Bitcoin on Celsius is 6 and change percent, and 5 and over Bitcoin is 4.5%. So spread it around. Maybe Voyager does not custody or does not have their services with Celsius, and they're a separate entity, and that's a great way to spread risk around if they're a separate entity, and if that's something that you're thinking about. Anyway, 12:02 p.m. on a Thursday, October 29th. We got one more stream tomorrow, and then we got Monday, and then we got our election on Tuesday, and let's see what happens. Because all I know is I don't know either candidate. I don't know them. I've never shook their hand. I never hung out with them. I've never talked with them. I don't know them. People run around like they know these people. I don't know them. All I know is that I hate what the US dollar stands for. I love the potential for the United States. I hate the lack of urgency that the government should have for change. We should have Manhattan projects, and we should have printed that $6 trillion and hired the smartest people and the smartest think tanks to figure out how to change things. But no, these people can barely keep the status quo system going the way it's been going, and the status quo, ladies and gentlemen, is not acceptable. Thank you all for listening. I wish you all a wonderful day. Smack those thumbs up buttons. Tell everyone to subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.